it's time to get, it's time to get, it's time to get up. Yeah, it's time to get moving. It's time to get up. Yeah.
So welcome to GALentines Day with your girl Coach Cass and the amazing Allison Moore. Let's get into it, sis.
I really thought through some things that many of you sent some comments or questions to us, to me. Some of the things that you all were saying, like, girl, I'm looking forward to this because. So I tried to curate an evening or conversation that I felt like would be really helpful and valuable. I really think that this is a moment for us. Shout out to everybody who is in their personal development. This is my year. I'm gonna be my best self person, and I think that this is for us. So we're gonna start with friendship because it is Gal Pal Day, straight up. And one of the things I told Coach Cass is like, look, I want to talk to you about adulting and friendship. And I know, in the More Laughing community, the age goes all the way up to one of my ladies that are OG. She's 97. Shout out to Grandma Pat. Hey. And younger, right? So we're not too old or too young for this conversation, but we are always meeting new people. And I'm in this space, Coach Cass, where I'm like in this major transition, because I was married all my life. I feel like my life going into the marriage was very different. And I took a lot of that with me, like my high school friends, my college friends, my young Allison. Now here I am, my great big old age of 73. I just had a birthday. Black don't crack. Won't it do? Don't hate y'all because I look young. That I'm like, actually, some people that I call friends, they're not my friends. And I haven't always been a good friend. And I do know that in my down seasons, my friends that have been good friends have like been valuable to me. Like I feel like that friendship is important. It's helped me. But now I want to make sure that I'm being accountable to how I'm showing up in my relationships, right? Like, am I truly a person that deserves to be on some of these people emergency contact lists? That being said, can you kind of let's level set. What is your definition of friend? Like, what is a friend other than because we went to high school together?
The definition of a friend, one thing, and ladies, y'all could drop in the chat if you identify with this. There are different friends for different reasons, different seasons. Some might be for a lifetime and some might not. And it's really hard to come to terms with that when people start to term out, right? And so for me, a friend is someone. So y'all ever have the friend that you could always call to go to the airport? But then there's another friend that you can never call to go to the airport. It doesn't
mean a friend that you can call to smoke weed with, or a friend that, oh, just me?
Right. So there are different friends for different things. I am not the one to call for the 3 a.m. flight. Here is the Uber ride, right? So I think a part of it is being seen and being heard.
Mm-hmm.
Does this person see you? Do they hear you? But a big part of it is, do they want to help you? Whether it's with a word of encouragement or with actual resources or introductions. And I think that's one of the things that are missing so often. People throw around the word friend so much, but then have you really been there for me ever, right? So I think friendship is something that you could build upon. And during the pandemic, y'all, I said something crazy. I said, no new friends, right? I was hanging out with two girlfriends and they're like, oh, we're going to this, we're meeting all these people, and I was like, I actually don't want to go anywhere. I became a hermit during the pandemic. And I said, I know all the people I need to know in life. And through these different networks, through my own organization of impacting women, I've come to realize how limiting of a thought that is, right? Because Allison, we met within this year, right? Like within the last 365 days. And what has been so beautiful is just my pure intent to be a part of whatever you have going on, and I know
it has been beautiful.
Many times it's a strange thing to happen, but I started to realize that we could start to shift the narrative by how we operate, and we don't have to shift our energy based on the foolishness that we've experienced.
Yeah. I appreciate that because I feel like that being in this community and even how you've shown up for me, even how some other people that are in this group on this message have shown up for me, it has made me really question my whole approach of no new friends. So I come from this, like I shared with you, I was married for a long time and I got divorced. And so that was really heavy on me. Also, I went through this transition where, I opened for Martin Lawrence. I opened for Sinbad. I'm starting to be with celebrities. And I kind of felt like that the energy that I was getting from the outside was changing. And I had some unfortunate experiences, right? Like I found somebody looking through my window with binoculars. And so then my safety was questioned. And I had all kinds of challenges that I'm like, yo, I want my friends to show up for me. And I had these expectations of how they would be there for me. And some hit the mark and some didn't hit the mark. And then I began to say, you know what, as a matter of fact, I don't even want to deal with anybody else. I'm going to just hope, because people, they clout chasers, or people, they're not there for you when you need them. And here I am with my trauma out on my sleeve and people are not really holding me down. But then I go into this community and I realize I'm kind of blocked off and I'm missing opportunities. And that's what made me want to say, well, can we start with talking about what type of mindset should we have? Because I don't want to miss this next season of friendship or relationship. I would really be short without some of y'all.
Yeah. So I think a big part of it, like no matter your age, your stage, your career, right? It could be you just made the next level of usher at your church, or
I thought you were talking USHER. That shit was
oh, that usher. No, no, no. We
Super
gonna leave
Bowl
that
winner
alone.
Usher.
So when we look at, when we're moving up in life, you just have to understand how people move around you,
Yeah.
right? So we're a little bit more vocal of some of the blessings that God has given us in our lives. And for the people that make snide comments, I just take note. And for those who celebrate me, I'm like, I take note. So you just need to take the time to observe how people flow around you. Are they celebrating you, or are they coming for a handout? Now, I'm Jamaican, right? And
Me too.
really?
Yeah. Okay. Well, hold on, because I just want to let you know. I'm really Jamaican, but my daddy, he was kind of absentee, so I ain't know for a long time that I was. But I always could dirty wine,
Can
like
you
since I
can
was
you
in
do like the gun finger? Can you go boop boop?
boop, boop.
All right. Okay. Good
Okay, but
job. First
on
lesson.
some dance hall, I can show you.
We're gonna leave that all
Okay.
alone right now. We're gonna leave that all alone. So so when I think about family and friends that live in, back in Jamaica, many times the hand is like this. And a part of you is like, okay, that's cool. But then if it's always like that, you start to question, like, who am I to you? And you start to see that in different friendships. Am I just here to give? And for some, that's what it is, right? That maybe they have nothing to give, and that's okay. So for me, you just have to find the friendships that fill you and the friendships that you pour into, because there's always an ability and an opportunity to pour. And I don't ever want us to stop pouring just because we feel like people are using us. You give from what you are able to give from, because you have somebody else pouring into you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, heck yeah, it makes sense. Well, what about like the friendships that there's nothing egregious that happened? It wasn't a get, none of that. It's just stagnant. I've just outgrown it. I realized there's
You
no
ain't gotta
fruit.
call them. You ain't gotta call them no more. Like, what are we really talking about? It's not like everybody's coming to knock on your door at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Like, most people don't get together unless there's plans. So don't make no plans, right? Like, you don't have to
Hey,
call
that's
to
what
do
I
the
need you.
check-in. You don't need to do fake check-ins. Like, if you really don't care, don't call the person. And it's very simple. Like, you'll see them at the thing, whatever the thing is, like the supermarket, and you say, hey there, oh, all right, and that's it. Like, we don't need to continuously call people daily if you really don't want to talk to them. So there's two emotions that you feel when you're picking up the phone, right? When you see somebody's name, there's a and the hey, right? So if you get the don't pick up the phone. Leave on your voicemail. I don't really pick up my phone. You can send me a text message. And then you respond to the text when you want to. How many of us miss the days when people could leave a message and they didn't expect you to have your hand, like, it's like the phone has become a part of your hand. Like, you have to answer it if I call you. No, I do not. I have a choice. And so it's for you to start to get good with your body and the energy that you feel when people are interacting with you, and start to say, okay, well, did that make me feel good? or not. And if it doesn't, then we need to say, excuse me, I'm good. You don't need to make an announcement. You don't have to do a press release. You don't have to say,
Oh,
I'm cutting ties with
you
you,
preaching to
fool.
me. Hold on, because
You
I was
know?
ready. I was doing a video, honey. I was like, let me get my script.
No. We are doing no movie trailers to let people
Okay,
go.
okay,
No letters, no 4-page letters, none of that.
okay, Aaliyah.
You just don't talk to them.
Okay, y'all, is there anybody like me or is it just me? Anybody? Because I'm scary Sherry. I think people think because I'm a stand-up comedian that like I got secondhand embarrassment and I will put my worth, confidence, blah, blah, blah to the side because I'm like, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want anybody to be sad. I don't want to be the one to defend people. But then, like you said, I'd be like, ugh, I wish they would just. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Well, give me free then. Give me free. Okay, so some people, Cheryl said, if it disturbs your peace, let it go. Laura said, guilty. Thank you. I ain't by myself. Thank you. Still, thank you. Okay, okay. So
Dang, Dr. Sam with the big old middle finger.
wait a minute, Dr. Sam. Hold on, Dr. Sam working with me. Don't give me a middle finger. Wait a minute. Okay, so now we getting some heart. So you want to move on, or is there anything you want to continue on in that piece right there?
No, I think we got it. Y'all got it, right? Like we don't need to call the person to say, I don't talk to you no more. You just stop talking because more than likely they're not calling you either. Right now, there are some hard conversations that need to happen for the people who claim to be your best friend. And if you really don't feel like that anymore, sometimes you do need to approach it to say, we are no longer best friends. This relationship has changed and you make a stake in the sand. And I've had to have those kind of conversations. I've had girlfriends who've had those kind of conversations,
For
and it's
real,
sad
you
at
had to tell
first.
somebody.
You
What?
said,
Tell me, what was that? Oh my gosh, tell me, what was that like? You had to have a hard conversation and say,
I didn't kill nobody. You said I killed somebody? No,
no,
but
I
it's
said,
just
what
like
was that
the
like?
dynamics have changed, and then from there, you just don't invite them to the thing anymore. So you having the cookout, you're not texting them to say you coming.
Okay, okay. Period. I'm putting on my big girl. I mean, I know I got my little kid pajamas on, but I'm gonna put my big girl panties on. Okay. Okay. Level me up then, because I'm an adult. I'm a grown woman.
You're a grown woman. It's
Yeah.
gonna never.
Okay.
You got
Okay.
brand
Cool.
new friends.
We got brand new friends. I feel the pressure. I want to get the pressure off of me. Let's bring the married women come to the front. Married women, still our rise. Come to the front. Because some of y'all are happily married. You got the man of your dreams. And shout out to you, sis. Gang. Well, not gang. I ain't in that gang. But you in that gang. Thank you. And then there's some that are unhappily married. So you, Coach Cass, you and your boo, y'all are so adorable. And I don't know if it's because of my superpower or weirdness or whatever, but I'm always like, I watch people, I notice things, and I enjoy watching you and your husband's interaction. Like you all sincerely seem like you like each other. A lot of people they don't like each other. They would much rather not be around each other, but they're roommates and they're on each other's taxes. So, like, what is the key to, happily married?
Mm. Well, happily married, I think, is an ebb and flow, right, Allison? So someone who has been married, there have been days where you did not like your husband. I have
Most.
those days, right? So you said multiple, right? But I think a big part of it is surrounding yourself with people that celebrate marriage, right? Getting yourself in the right environment. I'm very big on environment, which is why we even have the Real Love Network. But it's just like when you're in the right environment that is there for you to flourish in love. Because what cousin Ray Ray and them, the friends who don't know no better, they'll be telling you to leave that man so quick, or, oh, I can't believe he did that, or why would he say that? Like you don't need folks like that in your ear. So you have to be very careful of who you complain to about your spouse, right? And make sure that they are there to sow a good seed and not just burn your whole thing up. Now, I have two really good friends, three really good friends that have been through some stuff, right? So friend number one, her husband cheated, like physically. Friend number two cheated emotionally. And friend number three, husband, like, scared her, right? So three different situations. And all three made it through that, right? And a part of that was a decision, right? The one that cheated physically. She was like, I didn't upgrade this man from where he was to where he is for somebody else to reap the fruit. We're going to work through this, right? So, but he was remorseful in it, right? And then he did a 180 in his actions. And then there was a promise there that he will never touch alcohol again in his life. And if he does, she's out, so there was a strong promise. Person number 2 cut all ties with the emotional person and now is fully transparent with his wife. There was an actual change in behavior. Person number 3 promised to never raise his voice again. I'm like, that is amazing. Just never raise his voice again at his wife. So there had to be real movement in their actions. And so for my husband and I, for these 3 couples that are very close to us, that I thought, we thought they were bulletproof. Like, these are good couples. They do good. They love each other and still go through that. We decided that we were going to make sure to always have therapy as a part of this situation. So we do therapy couple times a year. I helped him finally get his own therapist because, it's stressful as an entrepreneur. It's stressful as a man. It's stressful the things that you go through. And you can't always come to me, or your boys don't always have great advice. So being able to have somebody to help you figure out how to deal with that stress outside of me. So what we've come to realize is we are not each other's answer. Right? Like, I'm not your answer. I might have an answer, but I'm not your answer. Jesus is the answer, right? And outside of that, you need to find some resources. So I think a part of it is we're not looking to each other to make each other happy. And we've also come to the place where we're starting to understand our makeup, our fabric, what makes us tick, what gets us excited. So you get less offended when you study the person that you're with, right? Like, when you start to say, oh, well, I see you're really stressed. I think you need to come hang out with, like, today. I told him, come meet me in the car. He's like, what? I said, bring your butt down to this car right now, right? Like, he had a very stressful call. I
Y'all
listened
did it
in
in the
on
car?
all of it. We watched a Netflix
Oh,
show.
oh, oh. I was like, are we
In
going
the
there?
mid,
Gang, gang.
in the
Usually I would go
middle,
make it
in
more
the
like an
middle
after
of the
dark.
day. I ain't got no garage. This is
Okay,
a
okay, okay,
condo parking lot. I'm not getting arrested. So
okay.
but I brought him food, right? So food is a love language. The thing that I realized in our marriage, like, yeah, food is important, but it ain't got to be cooked by me. Hallelujah, Jesus. Right? So, so I brought him food and we sat there and we watched Love is Blind, some foolishness. And he's like, why is everybody so sad? I was like, because everybody's breaking hearts, And I was like, stop asking me real questions. Let's just watch the foolishness. Get your mind off of things, And he was like, I really appreciate this, babe. And so I think a part of it is leaning in when we're going through something and caring enough. I think sometimes when we're married, we stop caring, right? Like, oh, well, he's supposed to do this for me, or she's supposed to do that for me. And when they don't do the thing, then we do this tit for tat thing, and that doesn't help anybody. Now, mind you, he did get me these yesterday, so maybe I was nicer.
Him, he
Because
warmed it up.
he got these nice things that
He
I
told
can
you, you better
understand,
stretch.
right?
Listen, I got plans. Mhm.
Right. So it's just being able to come to a place where you understand each other.
Yeah.
And the main thing is not to seek to be offended. I feel that when you're this close to someone, it's so easy to be offended. And I'm not gonna say that I don't get triggered and he doesn't get triggered, but when the dust settles, being able to talk it through, which we're still working on,
How
it
long y'all
gets
been married?
10 years in October.
Nice. Happy, whatever.
Yeah, it's
This is
okay. And
February. Okay, girl,
we've
what?
known each
Round
other
up.
since like 2004. You know what I mean? So it's just like you go through these ebbs and flows and we're always evolving. So I think it really is to take a step back and say, did they mean that or were they just hangry? And most of the time, I'm just hangry. Just feed me, Seymour.
I think what you said is like really, especially that community piece. When I look back at, my relationship, the one thing that we did not have was couple friends.
Mm,
And therefore, now at that time, I wasn't, we got married like right out of college. We're out of college, girl, you learn in college, right? But we were young and none of my friends were married.
mm,
But I thought that I was okay because all of my friends were saved, or I didn't have friends that were like, girl, go cheat. So I'm like, these are safe. These are my homegirls. They're going to get married one day. And then I became the friend that was rooting for people to get married, but I was not in a network or a community that was helping me learn how to be a wife. I had not, nobody in my family had been married. other than one like uncle and aunt, but I didn't spend a lot of time with them. So my mom wasn't married. My best friend's parents weren't married. We came from single households. So I didn't know how to be a wife, and I was not in that space. And so I still had a mindset like a single person. I remember one time I went with my friend to a conference. We were super zealous for the Lord. This was like, let's say 15 years ago, maybe. And we went to this conference where the ladies was talking about staying pure. And then she was talking about oral sex. And she was just like, it's not of God. You don't have oral sex. I mean, that was her philosophy. So my friend was like, yes, I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm not, going to be having sex, because she was single. And I went home at 24 and was like, oh yeah, I don't suck D no more. And I think that in that time, he was like, I'm sorry, you don't what? It was no, but those were the type of things, because I didn't I didn't have the other friend that were married that was like, girl, no, we give head around here. Like, nobody said we give head. The single girls, they was trying to hold it together. He was like, you don't do what? And then when I go back and look, I mean, I ain't mad. I don't give him no head, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if one of y'all want to hook me up with your brother, I'm gonna give him some head. Okay, don't worry. Okay, don't you go back and repeat this. This is for us to be better. I'm just being transparent, but I'm gonna suck some. Anyway, so okay, girl. Okay. So thank you. And I think, but community is important, and having those couple friends to know, like, these are dynamics that go on in the marriage, and here's how I'm making it through. And I would imagine that even your friends kind of going through some of those challenges, it helped you and your husband kind of protect yourselves, or be aware that, let us not forget, at any moment this could be us. Ish can go left real quick.
Yeah, so that's a constant reminder for us. Like, don't don't feel like you're immune, because I feel like a lot of people pop up on social media. They be together for like 3 days. Like, oh, we are influencer couple, and then like next week,
Yeah.
we're no longer an influencer couple. Pretend we ever never existed, right? So it's just like they don't they showing
Wait,
off
was
their
what's the influence a couple again? Y'all
yeah,
in
right
Tennessee?
there.
I'm gonna
We
go
the
look that
influencer
one.
couple. Here we go. Look at us. And it's like, no, stop looking. No, we don't exist anymore. So for me, I know I don't judge the folks where this stuff falls apart, because it is a continuous intentional act. Now, we are pretty resolute in how we feel about marriage. I tell him all the time, if you leave it in a box, you know what I'm saying? I tell him all the time, just a simple, simple reminder.
One way out, bro.
But we're not scared by it, because we both have the same mindset, but I also know I'm not immune, right? So what does that mean? Like, yeah, how I got him, how I keep him, right? So it's just like, all right, I look a certain way when we first met. Yes, I've had a child since then, but I do take the time to try and work out and eat healthy so it doesn't get out of hand. You know what I mean? So I know many people that, yes, let themselves go on both sides. And I don't think that's right, right? Like, you got to try and keep your packaging together. Now, if you met him big bone and you stay big bone, that's fine. Now, if you were skinny bone and then you went big bone, like, what happened, right? Was it PCOS? Was it a health ailment? And if not, like, sis, we got to work it out. Right? Like, we got to get it together. You can't just say because you want to watch Maury. I don't even know if Maury's still on, but like, I want to watch Maury all day and do nothing. And he's so funny, right? Because he don't really say that, baby, you getting out of hand. I'll put on something new. I'm like, babe, what you think? He'd be like, it's kind of pulling, right? It's, it's
That's
pulling
your code word. Y'all got code words.
on my belly. Yeah, it's pulling. Now, it took my grandma to come and see me, and I'm like, Grandma, I can't fit into these pants anymore. She's like, well, did you take your exercise?
Did you take your
Like,
exercise? I love that.
I think I need to buy you a girdle. It's always the grandma that comes to visit that tells me that my weight is getting out of hand and it's time to get it in order. And then I look over at him like, babe, what you got to say? He'd be like, I
He's
ain't
on the back like, thanks, Granny. Thank you.
yeah, he'd be like, thank you. Thank you.
I want to, we got to get to, because I want to keep this conversation going, but I want to ask one other question while we're talking about marriages. So can we get real about those? Because even in my previous relationship, my ex would have left out of here, he in a box, right? That just meant he won't go to therapy.
Oh, mhm.
And he won't go change nothing. But he would have stayed married. So there are some people who they're like, well, we married, we locked in, but people are miserable. What do you do if you are the only one that is aware that we're miserable and you don't want to be married? Like, divorce is not an option, but I mean, dang, is it like everlasting depression? What, like, how do we sprinkle some glitter for the ladies here who are like, I mean, I'm gonna be with him, I'm not gonna leave him, but
Right.
I don't want to be here.
So it's really tough. So I think there's angles, right? It's just like having a troubled teen at home that don't want to listen to you.
You know, I gotta go a bunch of them.
Right. So it's really looking at what is that person into, right? Is it football? Is it fishing? Is it couch? Is it TV shows? And is there someone else in their atmosphere that they respect? And can you talk to that person? And can that person talk to them? Right? Like we gotta work how we work it, right? Does he respect the pastor? So if he respects the pastor, can the pastor say a word or two? Does he respect his mother? Can his mother say a word or two? What, like, how can we start to like weave it in? I was on another call and a young lady was saying that she had a therapy session, and just one day she invited her man to just come with her, right? Just come on with me. And he took over the therapy session, right? Oh, well, this, and this, and this. And then he was trying to steal her therapist. You know, I was like, well, that's a different way of doing it. Like, hey, man, come with me to my therapy session. I need to work through some stuff. So, it's tough for those who are already married to be with someone who doesn't believe in therapy. So I think YouTube is a brand new venue that you could kind of work through and talk through things. Like, for instance, we saw our therapist and he sent us a analogy video that was just sharing about the Hulk. Right. So just imagine this. So Andy said it was the most entertaining video he's ever watched around feelings. And it's like Hulk smash, Hulk smash. And it was talking about how the Hulk needed this girl. I'll call her the Black Widow. I don't know if I'm sorry if I'm messing up all of the superheroes, right? So she put her hand in his and he calmed down, right? And then it happened again and he didn't calm down. And what it was trying to say is like, do not be the person where you have to be the reason why he calms down. Like, he needs to figure out how to calm down himself, and that might be for maybe you guys have anger issues, but it's like you can't expect someone else to bring the peace and be your peace. And I was just like, wow, this is such an amazing way to put this video. So it could be like, hey man, watch this video. Like, what you think about that? Ain't that something? Like, you like these superheroes? What you think about that? So it's also short videos, different ways, and to see if maybe he could catch it in that way. Asking him to read a book. Now, most people don't read a book after 12th grade, but can we read a book together, right? Can we go to a marriage conference? I believe marriage conferences are healing, right? Once a year, once every 2 years, once every 5 years, going to a marriage conference, reading books together. It doesn't even have to be a personal development book, but when you start to have shared interests that are something outside of like money, kids, stress, like even if it's just something fun, it's something to do together again. So
Yeah.
those are just some of the things that come up for me.
I love it. So we got a question. Okay, Crystal. Shout out to Crystal, because first of all, Crystal was ready and on this line 2 days ago. Okay. Crystal, for those of you who might have got a little antsy because the Zoom link was a little late and I'm trying. Okay, I'll do better next time. Crystal cussed me out before any of y'all because she was in my comments on 12, like Sunday, like, I am in this Zoom and y'all ain't opened it up. I'm like, oh, and I'm panicking like a big dummy. Like, oh my gosh, she can't get it. I said, oh, it's Tuesday, sis. It's Tuesday. So Crystal, thank you so much for just wanting to be here and being excited. That blessed my heart. I was like, okay, people are ready for this content. So her question is, do you suggest counseling before a problem arises? I do, but anyway, what you?
Yeah. Yeah, like it's medicine. It's like your vitamins. You should do therapy. Look for a licensed marriage and family therapist, and it's just a part of what you do once a month, once a quarter. Andy be mad at me, right? So we have a rule now where I can't bring up stuff to the therapist that I haven't brought up to him because he'd be like, "You swiping me? Like, what are you talking about right now?" And he go to the therapist. Therapist be like, "Okay, do you want to talk about anything?" And he'd be like, "Nah, everything's good." I'm like, well, there's." This list of 15 things. He'd be like, seriously? Like, why didn't you say something before this? Well, we haven't had time. So that's one of the things that we've made ground rules. Is like, okay, if something's bothering you, say it before we get to a therapy session. But I really do believe talking it through with a licensed professional is something good to get get going, right? Because
Yeah.
I always think I'm right. He always thinks he's right. And sometimes you need somebody in the middle that says, well, you're both wrong.
Yeah.
And this is how you do it, because we both didn't get the cookie cutter way of doing love. I was raised majority by my mother, single mom, whole lot of single independent women that treated men kind of like, disposable, like do boys, right? They're around to get things done. And that's
And
something
how
that
they're
I fight
trash.
with in my own mind, right? Like I got to fight that. And then for him, he had a mom that did everything. She was a superwoman, went to work, cooked the food, picked up the plate, cleaned the stuff. And I had to tell him quick, like, I'm not your superwoman, right?
Don't do it. Oh, no, no, no. Sorry. Whoa, whoa. If you feel it in your heart and you understand. Okay. All right. So moving on. Thank you very much. All right. So let's get into this. Ladies, all the single ladies. Come to the front. Get it straight. Okay. Other than going to a therapist, because you are a therapist right now, ma'am. Thanks. So the streets is different. On behalf of my single sisters, I just got here. Okay. And I have the time of my life. Well, kind of. But my homegirls, they like, girl, we've been here for a while, and there's pee in the pool. And I'm just like, well, why are you drinking the water? You know what I'm saying? You get in it and you swim, keep your mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? But apparently people don't like pee in the pool. So that being said, like what you out here, what are people saying to you? Because you're the expert. I'm just trying to find somebody, baby daddy, that I could touch, that would touch me. But for those people who've been here for a while, help.
That's a real generic question. So is there pee in the pool? Yes. There's a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot of things in the pool. And I like
Mm-hmm.
what you said. Keep your mouth shut. Okay. So we don't got to catch everything in our mouth like you talked about in the last section. Keep your mouth shut, right? It shouldn't be going to all the places. Keep your mouth shut, right? Oh, Leslie said, I work in an STI clinic and lots going on. Our men need healing. They do, right? So for you, here's the
Okay,
thing.
that put things into perspective. Thank you.
Yeah,
Just when
yeah,
I was
keep
gonna
your
hump
mouth
somebody
shut all
tomorrow.
the way. Keep everything shut.
Okay.
I have my live event in South Florida, right? Wanted Woman Live. And I remember telling the ladies they gotta go clank clank. You should have seen how quiet the whole audience got. I said, oh, so y'all don't believe in this? That's
No,
go.
it's 2024.
Y'all,
Like the rules
y'all,
change. The
y'all
Bible
ain't
stopped. The
trying to
Bible didn't say we had to do that in
y'all
2024.
ain't trying to lock this up. All right. So y'all can see Leslie at the STI clinic, right? So there's my PSA. Anyway, so
I'm gonna just come say, hey, she need customers too. Okay, so listen, then for me to be more specific,
Mhm.
I wrote my questions because I was this one. For those women who have a desire for love, but are new to being single or new to wanting to be married, dating may seem overwhelming. Talk
Mhm.
to us about dealing with our insecurities and our age. I'm 73. So my body doesn't look the same way that it did when I was 20. And I want to twirl on something, but I'm not as confident twirling on stuff.
There's
Oh, dating is more
too
than
many
that.
visuals right now.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. I'm sorry. All
I
right,
am
focus.
not
Bring
okay.
it-
I am not okay with this twirling on something.
Okay.
I'm a very
I just meant
visual
dancing.
person.
It was just a joke,
Let me
girl.
just take my
Okay.
glasses off. This
Um,
I've seen too
so
much.
aside from twirling, okay, just like in dating, I feel like there's a lot of conversation around younger women being what the preference is for quality men. There's a lot of conversation about, like I have 3 children and I have to sometimes think about, dang, is it too many kids? I got too big of a baggage. What do you say to those of us who just got here? And then I want to talk about those who have been for a while and are just jaded.
Okay, so for the people that just got here, I would say, take a look around and observe, right? So sometimes we jump full in and then we jump right back out. Like, oh, that was too much. That was too hot. That was too cold. That was 2 days old. So instead, take a moment to one, understand that whatever your situation is not a burden to the right person, right? I know somebody that had 5 kids, single, got married, and had a 6th kid for homeboy, right? Now they happily married for the last like 6 or 7 years, right? So when we start when we
Okay.
start talking about children, for a man that loves children, it doesn't matter, right? It really doesn't. So I think we have to be okay with what I call being a wanted woman, right? So if I'm wanted, if I woke up like this, how do I operate, not in a way that I'm cocky, but with confidence to know that I have something that somebody wants. Now it's just to figure out, who do I want? So it's no longer I'm standing on the side of the pool and somebody's trying to invite me in. No, no, no. I decide when I jump. I decide who I swim beside. I decide who I hand the lifesaver floaty and reel in, right? Like I decide. And if somebody likes me, it's okay for me not to like them back. But that goes back to the people pleasing in our friendships,
Yeah,
right?
you talking on something right there. That's how I got married, just because he
Right.
liked me.
That's it. And I find that that's a common thread with many women here, I'm pretty sure, right? Have you gotten in a relationship just because he liked you? And when you look back, you're like, I didn't even like that person.
That's why I be hurting so bad.
Yeah, it's like
I'm
I,
like, you
I
was
had to
dusty
I had to look
anyway.
at you with one eye open to even think you was good looking, right? Like I wasn't even attracted to you. And that's the problem, right? We have to look at, yes, the attraction. We have to look at the compatibility. We have to look at the alignment. We have to look if I even have fun with this person. If you don't like this person's company, like we can't even do this. So for the person just jumping back in, I think a part of it is to step back and look at all that you have coming with you and say, you know what? This is all a blessing.
Yeah.
All of it. My house bills, my mortgage behind, my mortgage on time, my business, my driven mentality, my children, my non-children, my puppy, my whatever, right? My love to travel, whatever it is, my marriage of 75 years that didn't work out, all of it,
Or
however many
some
times,
of our brothers are no longer with us. I know a
right?
couple of people in
Widowed.
our community that their men went on to be with the Lord, and
Yeah. So
they
it's
outside now.
So it's like whatever you've been through, somebody else will be like, wow, that's cool. Well, not maybe that somebody passed away, but it's like maybe they've been through that too. And it's
Mm,
like that's a touching point that you could come together. So my whole thing is like you are wanted no matter what you've been through, but it's for you to believe it. Right. And not to walk in like a hurt puppy, talking about, please pick me. I am Igor.
yeah.
Like, you're beautiful. Stand up straight and know that there is a man that is just as amazing to match you.
All
And
right.
not
So
to settle. We're not settling out here.
you're not. There we go. Okay, perfect. Well, then let's turn it. Okay, so what about if the only guys that holler at you is the bums at 7-Eleven? Is that a me thing? Do that mean that
Yes.
I'm attracting bums?
But you also said that you just came outside and this Zoom is considered your outside.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes I do talk, if I could be 100% transparent with you, with all people in mind. Um, Me, myself, I'm a little diverse. I get homeless people at 7-Eleven and at the park, sis. I'm attracting them everywhere. But I know, like, one of my homegirls put in the, message, like, I'm excited about this conversation. She said she ain't got hollered at in a year.
Mm.
So, two things. For those women who are not getting the attraction, the energy, the flirting, even somebody hollering at them. And then the ones that are like, I'm really only pulling stuff that should not even be allowed
So
outside of
here's
my.
the thing. I just had one of the members of my community, the Real Love Network, ask me, Coach Cass, what's up? I just went to the Grammys. I was at the places. I was looking to bomb, super cute, dressed tight, da da da. Nobody hollered at me. I feel defeated. I said, well, what did you do? She said, well, I stood by myself at one of the tables. And that was it. Like, he was just there, like, looking around, not talking to nobody. She's like, well, I did use the line, like, have you been here before? I'm like, that's it.
I asked them, so I ain't married, so forget the man.
Listen, listen, we gonna need a little bit more conversation than that, right?
Okay, well,
And
hold on right there. In because we drawing up some notes specifically. So I'm walking in and I'm like, have you been here before? I mean, I probably would say it like that, but most of y'all wouldn't. I have swag at most points until it comes to a man. It's really weird. But so women, they say that, like, at what point is now you doing the pursuing? Because we supposed to be soft, we not supposed to be aggressive, we supposed to get what we want. So where is the line there? We just holler people?
so here's the thing, right? Remember that men and women are introverts, right?
Mm,
So if you're just looking for the man that's gonna walk 19 yards across the room to come say hello or send a drink, that's a certain persona. So you have to remember, do you want the player from the Himalayas who sends drinks every time he goes to an event? Like, is that the dude you want? Or do you want the guy that's just standing there and he's talking to a friend and, he's there, but he's not necessarily
A
looking
skirt
around
chick.
to holla at people. There's a certain charismatic dude that's that dude. So if you're looking for that dude, fine, stand at the table, don't talk to nobody. But if you want somebody that maybe isn't as comfortable doing all of that, then maybe you're at an event that's really cool. So you join different circles, you strike up conversation, you talk about where you're from, what's going on, and then if something sparks, it sparks. But you can't just stand by yourself waiting for someone out there.
Not to act out.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so I'm at the event. I done went up to him like, you by yourself, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. But I'm at the event, and please listen, y'all. I done paid for this webinar. Can y'all put a Q&A? Crystal, can you come back and do another one? You was earlier. We paid for these Q&As.
Oh, you looking for questions? They got questions in the chat. I feel like it's in the chat.
Oh, well, maybe I need to read them the way. Okay, I was looking for the Q&A. Way too literal. But all right, so I'm at the event. I walk up to somebody, I'm in conversation, I'm opening myself up to like, talk to me, sir. Do I say, well, what's your number? Can we talk? Is that pursuing? Okay.
No.
Okay. You just make
No,
myself.
we're not starting to sing. Can we talk? No,
Girl,
we're
because
not.
I was about to. I was gonna go soon as we hung up, I was
we're
gonna
not.
go give me my Valentine tomorrow.
We're not doing all that, right? So if
Okay.
you see someone and they see you, you could do a wave, you could say hello, you could walk over. Like I'm not opposed to the walkover. Some people be like, you must stand there and wait for him to come to you. But if you just walk over and say, oh my goodness, like this is my first time here. Have you been here before? What do you love about this event? Oh man, I love this, this, and this. Are you from around here? Oh no, I'm from over here. Da, 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 da. Oh, cool. That's really nice. Well, if you've decided you don't want to do long distance, maybe that's the end of the conversation. If they live in your town, then you're like, oh, nice. Well, I'll be going now. You have a good night. Oh, but wait a second. Hand grab, right? If he enjoyed the conversation, right? Or, I'd love to have this conversation again soon.
Okay, one liner. Okay, I was gonna ask you, what should I say? Okay, I like that. I'd love to have a conversation. Okay, sorry. We're gonna work on
And
how to
then
say
if
it.
he ain't trying to have a conversation, and then you're giving your number if he seems open, right? Like you don't need to call him to follow up. He needs to call you. And if he doesn't call, that is no bearing on who you are, right? Sometimes we sit by the phone and it's like, he didn't call. It's over. It's like, you don't even know this dude. My issue is how heartbroken we get off of random people we don't know.
All
So
right, thank you very much. You done enough stepping on my neck. Okay.